Hey guys, okay, today we are going to jump into GitHarvest. Now there's many different software platforms out there that you can use to track your time. However, GitHarvest is my favorite and it's always been my go-to with any client work that I have done. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And what we're going to do is walk through from the very beginning how to set up an account in Harvest and then how to utilize it to really serve you in your business. So I'm creating a brand new account here just so that we can do this together. So it's going to ask you some questions as you first log in. So I'm just going to say just me for the sake of this training. Oh, I already selected that, so I can't do it again. So what you want to accomplish, and I want to track billable time to properly bill my clients. You know, if you're just trying to, like if you're doing a project and you just want to see how much time it's actually taking you to do a project, then you might choose something else. But for right now, I'm going to show you how to do this so that we can invoice our clients for the work that we're doing. All right. And then besides time tracking, what features do you want to try? And you can decide if you want to start putting your expenses in here for clients. That's great. For the sake of this training, we're just going to be invoicing our clients. And we'll just say we work 35 hours a week. And then what we're going to do is skip this because for this training, we're not having team members in here. When we do start talking about an agency, this is something that you would definitely want to consider. And then you can have a reminder if you want to make sure you are tracking your time. I personally would just go in or download the app because the app is great. But you just go in and you say like you clock in and you clock out, just like a normal like job, you know, because then we don't have to go back and think, like, did I clock in or did I start working on that project at 11:15 a.m. or was that 11:30 a.m.? It keeps us, you know, in a line with our integrity, right? Okay, so we'll just say, I'm going to put my business name here. And we'll say this is for a training, this is our project. And I'm going to bill by time and materials, okay? So this is when we're doing hourly work. If we were doing the retainer or a project model, package model, that's when you're going to be billing by fixed fees. It's a very similar process, so I'm going to show you how to do this with the first option here. If you do choose this, it's just simple because you aren't clocking your time. And then you can put a budget if you want, like if you can only work to a certain amount of money, like if you have a certain amount of hours set for a client, you can put that in here. And then you can have your hourly billable rate. So we're going to leave the budget alone. We'll just say we work as much as we want for this client at $50 an hour. Okay, you can put your information in here. I mean, for this, we'll just kind of mix stuff up. Okay. So now this is what it looks like on the desktop version. Okay, so the app is very similar. Go ahead and make sure you set everything up on the desktop before you use the app because it's just easier to actually create your processes on here. The app is more of just for clocking in and out and checking where you are at for that week. So now it's Thursday and I'm going to track some time. Here you're going to see your different clients. So if you have multiple clients here, multiple projects, you're going to see which one you want to select. Now, something to consider, if let's say you have 2 clients, but you have multiple projects for each client, and for, you know, you either want just for your personal knowledge, you want to know how much time is being spent on each project, or maybe your client wants to be able to, you know, separate those in their bookkeeping, you can track it by project. So when you create new projects, they're going to appear here. So you could have 1 client and 3 projects listed. So right now I'm going to say I'm clocking in for Posh Operations for the training. I'm working on, we'll say project management. So I'm going to go ahead and start my timer. Now it starts my timer here. And then once I'm done, I would click stop. So we'll let that run for a little bit. So here in the projects tab, this is where you can create new projects. So you click new projects, you're going to choose your client, and we'll say this is a social media project. If you want, you can add, like, if it's a project that has a start and end date, you can add that in here. And then here we're going to do a project billable rate of $50 an hour. Again, you can set a budget if you want to make sure you're staying on track there, which it's good to go ahead and do that. It's also, you can just track your hours. It's up to you. Here, you could do a fixed fee again for your project. And non-billable work, that would be something that if you wanted to go ahead and put your business in here, you could track your non-billable work for your business. Okay, so if there are certain tasks within this project that you want to track, this is where you would add them. So maybe I'm going to say content creation. Okay, so now I have a separate task that I can use. If once you get to an agency model, you could add your team members here, and that's going to allow you as an agency owner to see overall how many hours a project is taking, but then also who's doing the work, how many hours are each team member, bringing to the pot here. And this is especially relevant if each team member has a different rate that you are paying them. So we'll go ahead and save this project. We're not going to go through adding a team. It's pretty self-explanatory. Here's where you're going to invite the person, and it's just going to prompt you to give them the information, and it's going to send them an email to set up their account within your Harvest account here. Now we can go back. Let's say I'm done working with this project. I'm now going to go work on, we'll just say, so I'm going to change the project. So I'm going to go to Posh Operations now and work on social media. Okay, so it's the same client, just different pots of work, right? We'll let that run for a little bit. Now, the cool thing here is when you go to reports, you're going to see all of your clients listed and how much time you have worked. And this is showing us the week view right here. How much time that you have worked for that client this week. You can do 2 weeks. You can do a month. If you want to see a quarter, year, all time, stuff like that. So this is really cool just to kind of see where you're at for the week. Sometimes if you want to go double check, like, are you getting close to that, that benchmark, and you don't want to go past it, you can come and check and see, how many hours have I put in either overall or for a specific client. You can also break this down by project. How many hours have I spent on each project or your tasks? And then this is where you would see your team members once you have those in your business. So if we go back to the clients here, we also get to see how much have we worked this week that has not been invoiced yet. So this is the amount that we are going to be earning so far this week if we are working an hourly rate. Obviously, if it's a fixed rate, we know exactly what we're bringing in for the week, okay? And you can click here to include that. So I'm going to go into my time here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is create my first invoice. I'm going to say I'm going to invoice Posh Operations, and then go ahead and have this top section here clicked, because you can create your own invoice, but we might as well use their features. Okay, and then I'm going to say all uninvoiced billable hours. So it doesn't matter which project it's on. I'm going to invoice everything for the time period that I select. Okay. And if you want to break it down by project for them or by task, that's up to you. So let me show you what I did. This review invoice button here, I click that. And then now this is what my invoice is going to look like after I fill in some information here. You can change your invoice number if you want. It's automatically going to just, the next invoice I create in here is going to be 2, and then it's going to go 3, it's just going to go up for you. If they have a PO number, you can put that in there. The date that you're issuing it. So if you're creating it now, but you're actually going to issue it on, the next Monday, you can change this date. Due date, either upon receipt, net 15, depends on what your contract says, right? So all the clients I work with, it's due upon receipt. If you offered a discount, you can put that there. Like I said before, I don't do discounts in my business, and I don't recommend you do it in yours, but if something came up and you want to put that in there, that's the place that you can do it. And then your subject line is going to be, we could say like February project name. Invoice, you know, so you can decide how you want to name your invoice. And here what it's going to do is it's going to say, this is a service you provided. It's going to give a description based on what you named your project or your task. And it's going to give the dates that it's running this invoice for. So we don't want to edit any of this, okay? It's going to show you how much time that you put into this project. And your hourly rate will go here, and the amount due to your client is going to be automatically populated. Now, let's say I had to send them something, or I had to buy something that we agreed upon that they were going to reimburse me for. That's where I could put, you know, a product in here, and I would definitely label it, you know, reimbursement. And then I would, you know, item description. So whatever the item was, right? Okay. If you have anything that you want to put in here, you know, if you want to put a thank you note, you can. It's up to you. This, whatever you put in the notes is going to be shown to your client. So then we're going to save this invoice. Okay. And then actions is, let's see, oh, here, not actions. Then we're going to click first review it, make sure it looks good to you. Then you're going to send the invoice. Now, I haven't set up a contact for Posh Operations yet, so you would need to click that and add your client information. So whoever's managing the payments for your client, this is where their information is going to go. So it prompts you there to do that, because in order to email this invoice, you do need to have your client information set up. So here is the email. It's going to say invoice, and then from your business, it's going to give the information, just kind of a snippet from the invoice, and then it's going to attach the invoice as a PDF here. So another thing is that your business information will always show up on the invoice. Their business information will always show up in the invoice as well. Now, the cool thing here, if we go back to overview, is that once I send this, it's going to show it's past due. Okay. And so here you can see you have an open invoice for X amount. Now, once I receive payment, I'm going to click on this invoice and I'm going to say, I received this payment, and save it. Okay. And then now when I go back to my overview, I can see my total paid amount for, you know, it's going to tell you the amount of time has been $1.50, and I recorded that invoice in here. So I see that there's no open invoices with my clients. We're good to go. Everyone's paid their bill. And then here, if you want to go back and view an invoice, you just click all invoices, reports. You can run different reports based on your invoices. Now, here's something I personally like to do is I will create a reoccurring invoice. Now, this only works when you have a retainer package or a project that is ongoing, but basically we're going to automate this invoice. So we're going to say they're going to draft an invoice for us. Now, it changes with whether or not it's going to send it automatically for you based on the type of invoice that you are doing. Now, since I have it set up right now that my work is hourly, it's not going to automate it. If it was a project fee or retainer fee, it would send it automatically. But because the system wants me to go in and double check that I didn't forget my timer or something, you know, was wrong, it makes me double check my work before I send it, which is honestly great because we want to make sure the first invoice we send is the correct one. So we're just going to say, yep, go ahead, issue this on this, 24th of every month until I tell you to stop. I'm going to invoice my hourly fee. I'm going to review it. The same information is going to go here. Okay. And we're going to save the recurring invoices. Now, when you go in here on the 24th of every month, you're going to see your draft invoice. So instead of having to create that invoice every month, it creates it for you. You're going to click on it, you review it, and you send it. So it's just it saves some time. If you want to go ahead and do a retainer where your clients are paying in advance, this is something you can add to the system as well. And then as you work, it's going to pull from your retainer. Okay. And so that helps you know that where your clients are at with the retainer. If they're starting to get to the end of it, you can open up that conversation again. But it's just a very simple way for you to learn, or for you to track this within your business. And that is the basic overview of Harvest. Now, make sure that if you do use Harvest, that you have the app as well. You know, you can have the app on your laptop, you can have it on your phone. It just keeps things very simple, and it's easy to toggle back between different projects if that's something that you're doing. And it keeps it clear so that you know that all your work is being documented and that you're being paid for your time. The cool thing here too is if you clock into something and you forget to clock out, it's going to send you an email at like 2 a.m. and be like, we think you forgot your timer, which obviously at 2 a.m. that's not helpful, but it tells you, hey, go back and edit it. So let's say this timer kept running. Now, the reason this is locked, it's because I have already put this on an invoice. And so this prevents me from accidentally putting, duplicate hours on an invoice. So once I invoice for a certain amount of time, I can't invoice for it again. So it helps us make sure that we have good business practices. But let's say social media, this timer ran and all of a sudden it's like 18 hours. And I'm like, nope, I only spent 20 minutes on that. I just click edit and I go in and I adjust my time. If someone on your team is doing this, I always require them to just add, forgot my timer, something like that. And then you update the entry. But otherwise, that is Get Harvest. There is a link to sign up below. It will enroll you in the free paid or the free trial for the paid version initially. But like I said, you don't need the paid version unless you have more than 2 clients or you are bringing on team members. So as always, let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here to help.